Okay, we are almost done with our playground parts. Today we're going to work on our tunnel slide. So we're going to go here to Parts. Like you do always, just give it some time to load. Being a big program, it can take a while. We're going to go to 2D Sketch, XY Plane. If you go into your blueprints, you'll see that we have something that is a curved slide. The best way to look at this, it says sketch the profile of your slide first. Well, the easiest way to do that is to draw these two vertical lines here and here. One obviously is the opening, one is obviously the ending, and both are 36-inch lines. And then we can connect it with some type of curved line, and I'm going to show you how to do that in Inventor. So like it shows, I'm going to draw a vertical line up here, make sure it's straight. Then I'm going to draw a line down here and make sure that that is straight as well. Okay, now if you remember, each of these lines had to be 36 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead and dimension this line and make that 36. Go ahead and hit front to bring it back. And then I'm going to click this line here and make this 36 inches. So right now we have our opening and our ending to our slide. If I go back here, we can also see that the height of this slide is going to be 132 inches tall. So that's from the very top to the very bottom, and 120 inches long. So when you dimension, I'm going to hit the very top of this line and then the very bottom of this line and move my mouse to the right because I want to get this vertical arrow up and down, which represents how tall the slide's going to be. And again, if you remember, looking at it from this side view, it's 132 inches. So we need to type 132. And then from the very top to the very top, if I keep my mouse right here that shows the arrow left to right, that's going to be 120 inches. Now it may not look like that distance here on your screen, but we've now dimensioned the opening ends, the height, and the length of our slide. Now what we need to do is add that curve. And most of you think you would want to use the arc tool, but you don't. You want to go to your line tool and hit the drop down arrow, and you have some different types of line. The one line you can see here that we want to use is called spline interpolation. And what that means is, as you draw the line, you're going to click as you move the line, and it's going to create little tabs which we can then change. So starting at the bottom, I'm going to get a green dot and click once. Move my mouse towards the very bottom of the top line, and I'm going to keep clicking every few inches, and you can see it's creating little white marks. And I'm kind of creating somewhat of a bend as I go. And if you need to move this, you can grab this little tab here and move it. And I'm going to make sure I connect this to the very bottom of the line with a green dot. And then hit my check mark. I'm going to do the same thing, spline interpolation for the top. So again, starting at the bottom line, get that green dot. Start drawing my line up, clicking every few inches. Don't worry about the straightness of the line. Okay. And then again, I need to move this and then get the very top by that green dot, green check mark. All those clicks you made are represented here by a green square. That's going to allow you to then click on that green square and manipulate the line. And obviously you can see more than just that point moves and gives it bend. So we're going to go ahead and just let that part there alone. I'm going to move this part up here a little bit and try to straighten this this top curve out a little bit. Again, remember we're doing a slide, so we want to make sure that it's somewhat safe for our kids. So we don't want it too steep where it can be dangerous. So that looks pretty good and smooth. And I'm going to do the same thing to the top line here. Just bend it a little bit to make it look nice and pretty, because that's obviously what we want our slide to look pretty. And I'm okay with this almost. Just bring this down a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm okay with this design here. Once you're done, you can finish your sketch. Alright, and we're going to extrude this shape. Now this whole shape needs to pop out. If we go back to our blueprints, you'll see that the dimension of that is 36 inches. So we have a 36-inch extrusion that's going to happen. And again, to verify, here in your blueprints, you see here it says extrude 36 inches. And before I go back to my initial drawing, I want you to see that the next step here is we're going to use the shell function, and it says remove faces 3 inches. What does that mean? So here we got our figure. We extruded 36 inches, and you can see that there's obviously no way that the kids can slide through this. We don't want them to slide on top of it. That would be unsafe. We want them to slide through this. So if you come up here where we did our extrusion, you're going to look for the word shell. And when you click on shell, I'm going to hit this drop down arrow so you can see already highlighted is the remove faces. And so that means we're ready to remove a face. And a face is usually the front part of an object. So I'm going to go ahead and click this bottom end square, which is one face, and I'm going to remove the very top face. Now what that does is the program knows to follow the lines from top to bottom and shell out. If you remember, it said to shell 3 inches. We're going to leave 3 inches in this box here. That means it's going to leave 3 inches of material, and we're going to hit OK. And when you do that, I'll rotate this here. You should be able to see that it has an opening from top to bottom and shells out, so that there's an opening and an ending for them. And once again, you're going to give it some color. So we're going to right click on it, select other, go ahead and hit extrusion 1, give it a color. Think about the many colors you've used. Try to be somewhat different. I'm going to go ahead and do a dark green. Alright, and then File, Save As, and you're going to call this Tunnel Slide. Alright. Mine's in my playground set. I'm going to call this one green, because I might go back and save more copies of it. So that's what you have to do today.